my people, black people. I had a shitty day today, but I spent my day fighting for black lives, and I don't regret it, not for a second. And no matter what you're going through, I need you to know that there are people out here fighting for black lives to improve the quality of our lives. And no matter what you're going through, no matter how bad you feel in the moment, we're here. And we love you. Don't you ever fucking forget it. Being pro-black is not anti-anything. It's just pro-black. And I fucking love you, man. I don't have to know you to love you. And I'm not gonna stop fighting. Not ever. And there is no machine working against us that's gonna make me stop fighting for you, because you're worth it. And your black life matters. Period.
There is something so insidious happening right now to the black community, and most white people literally have no idea it's even happening. The black community is under attack right now at a level we haven't seen probably since the Civil Rights era. You know, with the Supreme Court gutting the Voting Rights Act earlier today, you've got the purge of black federal workers, attacks on nonprofit funding with the whole DEI boogeyman. You've got attacks on the social safety net. Overt racism is on the rise across the board. And they're tired, y'all. They are exhausted by this onslaught. And it's self-proclaimed white Christians leading the charge against them on all of these fronts. So if you are a white Christian and you are not deceived by Trump, we need to rally together around our black brothers and sisters right now. We need to form a wall around them, and we need to say no more. No more, because this isn't right, and we cannot stand by and do nothing as they are getting absolutely pummeled like Reconstruction just ended or something.
He's not wrong.
The black community is under attack right now at a level we haven't seen probably since the Civil Rights era.
Given what the Supreme Court just did, if you're not mad about it, you can't be trusted. And if you are mad about it, too many of you are not mad enough. I'm not surprised, however, because I feel like I've been stuck having a conversation for almost 20 years that not enough people were having. During Obama's first term, if you were on social media, Facebook, early on, you would have probably thought I was this guy. And I never would be that guy. But I was being treated like that guy for being negative towards Obama. And the only reason I was being negative about Obama is because I felt like going into his second half of his first term, he needed to start to bring to the conversation front about things like reparations, things like revising the Constitution. Those of you who were alive and paying attention to the political spectrum saw how Obama was under attack for everything. I didn't think he would get a second term. But I felt like if this is going to be your last 2 years, these are things you need to do. Because if it doesn't get done under a black president, it's never going to get done. But what the Supreme Court just did is why I stopped arguing with friends and family who don't believe that there's a difference between the parties and voting doesn't matter, cut off ties with anybody supporting Donald Trump. Because not only did we not have enough receipts of what his racist bigotry was before he ever was elected president, but during his first term, he said he saw no evidence of systemic racism in America. And if you see no evidence of systemic racism from the Oval Office and your Attorney General 1 and 2 echo that sentiment, if you don't see it, that means you don't hear it. If you're not hearing it, that means you're not listening to the people who are suffering. More importantly, that means you're ignoring people filing grievances. Most notably, that means you're supporting the system as it was intended. to operate. In the next 5 years, colleges and universities will have more white enrollment than ever. Employment hirings of manager and upper level positions will be more white than ever. There'll be fewer scholarships and grant opportunities. There'll be less black people going to college because of financial restraints. And all of our high school kids will be graduating with more ignorance to this country's history than ever because of the type of curriculum that's being taught, which will pave the way for a plausible apathy towards the black community even further, to blame black people for their own problems. You're not having more educated black people because you're not going to college. You're not earning higher wages and salaries because you're not being the most qualified hired applicant. Totally ignoring that this government, this administration, has rolled back any efforts to support diversity. Black qualified people in positions are being fired and let go. And people feeling their civil rights are being violated would be reporting it to a department that's either been frozen or gutted to the point where they don't even have the resources to deal with this, leaving everybody, as the Supreme Court ruled, to fight individual hand-to-hand battles, making us all more vulnerable because we'll have no shield. And I and many of us have always known, if you don't redo the Constitution, then no amendment, no act that would be passed by any era of this country, it could always lead back to the Constitution, which is the precedent, which means the Supreme Court at any time could deem anything unconstitutional that does not have direct correspondence to the Constitution, when we all know the Constitution was inked when we were in chains.
All I'm gonna say is that they don't really care about us.
As at this point, Black Americans are honestly tired. Black Americans are honestly exhausted. But there's one thing I know for sure, that anybody that is plotting evil against Black American, that evil will go back to that person. Because what's up with the fact that these people are in America, they still cannot drink water and drop cup in peace? White folks are the one ruling. White folks are the one on top. White folks are the one enjoying every single thing. White folks are the one that are reclassifying and doing every single thing possible. But still, they don't want these people to exist. What's up? What is really the crime of being a black person in America? What is really the crime of building a country and you people coming to take over the country and acting like nothing literally happened? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credits belong to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And guys, with that being said, let's dive right into the other part of this video. I'll be back with commentaries.
There is something so insidious happening right now to the black community, and most white people literally have no idea it's even happening. The black community is under attack right now at a level we haven't seen probably since the civil rights era. We need to rally together around our black brothers and sisters right now. We need to form a wall around them, and we need to say no more. This isn't right, and we cannot stand by and do nothing as they are getting absolutely pummeled like Reconstruction just ended or something.
The issue is that this is not new. They've been in pursuit of this for a very long time. One of the reasons why we are utterly exhausted is because we've been trying to convey that this is a problem. We've been trying to convey that they have been systematically setting us up for failure, and that's the end of slavery, quote unquote, and everything else that has come as a result of that in between, just even in the last 40 or 60 years. Everything has still been set up for our systematic oppression. So the issue is not just the emergency of this current climate. The issue is that we've been telling y'all that this is what's happening. We've been telling y'all that it's technically not even supposed to be an issue of race. It's an issue between those that are the elitist group, the haves versus the have-nots. The only reason why y'all started listening is because they somehow took everybody, majority of people, and they turned them from the haves to the have-nots. But this is not new information. Yes, it is urgent. Yes, we need support. Yes, you should be equally concerned because you are impacted just as well. You don't realize we all going to hell in a handbasket unless somebody decides to come together and do some shit. That's how we got here in the first place. But what we're not going to do is act like this is a new occurrence, that this is just this menace. No, this has been in the works for a very long time. Why do you think there are people that are silent and actually eager to see this play out? There are people who are genuinely excited for the unfolding of this. So this is not a plea of something that's shocking. No. Y'all should have been concerned before he got in office.
Black women, what we doing? What we doing? What we doing? It's us against the world, girl. It's us against the world. What we doing? What we doing? Let's go. I'm ready. I'm ready. I used to be Miss Kumbaya. Let's reach across the aisles. Let's work together. F all that. Black woman, what we doing? Let me know. Gather in the comments. Let's go. I'm ready.
There is something so insidious happening right now to the Black community, and most white people literally have no idea it's even happening. The Black community is under attack right now at a level we haven't seen probably since the Civil Rights era. You know, with the Supreme Court gutting the Voting Rights Act earlier today, you've got the purge of Black federal workers, attacks on nonprofit funding with the whole DEI boogeyman. You've got attacks on the social safety net. Overt racism is on the rise across the board. And they're tired, y'all. They are exhausted by this onslaught. And it's self-proclaimed white Christians leading the charge against them on all of these fronts. So if you are a white Christian and you are not deceived by Trump, we need to rally together around our Black brothers and sisters right now. We need to form a wall around them, and we need to say no more. No more, because this isn't right, and we cannot stand by and do nothing as they are getting absolutely pummeled like Reconstruction just ended or something.
I got so much, fam. I got so much that I could say about that post. But I am going to start off with racism never went anywhere. Are you kidding me? Secondly, you guys voted for it. We tried to warn you guys that they were trying to push this Project 2025 agenda. They just had to find the right person to put in that White House that'll push it, right? Here's the thing, though. You guys cut off your nose to spite your face. You see, a lot of you are collateral damage because you're closer to the have-nots. Even though it's got a lot to do with Black and brown people, guess what? You're closer to us. If they didn't have Black or brown people to push around, guess who's next in line? You have-nots. And we tried to warn you guys, man. Hey, I tell you what, right? And this is a quote from one of my favorite movies. This shit here is bigger than Nino Brown. We don't just need white Christians, because we don't trust them. We need good United States citizens. Black, brown, white, red, not orange though. We don't want any more orange motherfuckers. But that's what we and who we need.
So you actually think that you can break us by taking away all our votes Not white citizens, but people of color vote, our representation via the Voting Rights Act. And your extreme gerrymandering and your redistricting across the damn nation. Okay. Well, America, pull up a chair. This one is for everybody. Corporate elites. You're forgetting something. Black folks have been counted out before. Slavery didn't break us. Jim Crow didn't break us. That Tulsa massacre didn't break us when they bombed the Black Wall Street in 1921. That didn't break us. 6 million Black Americans packed up their shit and during the Great Migration and rebuilt cities in other places and rebuilt cities that didn't want us. That still didn't break us. That GI Bill, all of us came home from World War II in uniform. Your banks redlined all of us. All of the homes that we built, every other family, they got the wealth. Nope, that didn't break us. Shelby County versus Holder in 2013, 5 justices gutted the Voting Rights Act and unleashed a wave of voter suppression that's still going on to this damn day. That ain't gonna break us. Go ahead, buy up all the universities. Go buy all the books and legacy media. Go buy the damn courts. Go buy these damn politicians. Spend whatever it takes. Pat yourself on the back. You successfully captured the Department of Education. Hell, you even got the damn EPA. And now your Doge little boys, your covertly went in and put your hooks into Social Security and Medicare covertly. And you even coming for the people's air and the fucking water that they drink. And now you're going for the Voting Rights Act. It's decimated. You just decimated Voting Rights Act. Oh, no worries, homie. You see, I got a secret for you. Y'all in trouble. See, Black folks in America, we've been training for this shit for 400 fucking years. We have the calluses on our hands. We have the fucking church pews. We got the church pews, our barbershops, our cookouts, and the community that carried us through every storm per the generations. It's in our damn DNA. It's embedded in us. But white America, oh, yeah, you white America, I bet you think the system had your damn back because of your skin color, huh? Well, guess what? That gravy train stops today. It's over. Billionaires are coming for your Social Security. Billionaires are coming for your damn schools. Billionaires coming for your water. And while you sitting up here screaming about some drag queens and immigrants, they're picking your damn pockets clean. Guess which culture of folks will be ready for what's coming down the pipe next? We are. But corporate greed don't give a fuck about your damn color. They don't give a damn about the church you in. They don't give a damn about your zip code. White working class America, only thing it cares about is your damn wallet. Black folks will rise. We always do. The only question left is whether the rest of America, y'all rural working class white America, will y'all start to wake up in time to rise up with us? Or find out the hard fucking way what 400 years taught us survival.
I'm very good at reading between lines, and comments like this is just another form of manipulation. Who would you say is more of a threat to Black Americans? Other Blacks that are non-Black Americans, or YTs based off of history? My thing is, it doesn't matter. And if you read between the lines when people make comments like this, because this is not the only one that's similar, what they're really trying to say is, why don't you focus all your attention and all your commentary onto, YT racism? Why not just ignore racism that is very prevalent that comes from Black immigrants and other people who are Black or have a Black phenotype? And why don't you just ignore them? Let them be racist. Let them undermine you. Just completely ignore it because you guys look the same anyway, right? And just focus all of your energy on the YTs. I say I can focus my energy on both, because as far as I'm concerned, when we're talking about threats, the threats are coming from all the way around. The threats isn't just coming from one place. The threats are coming all the way around, and I will address every single one of them as I see fit. I do not give passes for disrespect to anybody. Even if I had love for you, I still wouldn't let you get away with disrespect. We don't give passes to people just because of color. So it doesn't matter if it's a YT person that doesn't like Black folks and that's disrespecting Black people and that's doing evil things to Black people. It don't matter if it's a Mexican girl that goes in a racist tirade and calls Black people to hardy R and sits up and proclaims how much she hates us and calls us chimps and racial and brags about racial profiling and abuse. Or it doesn't matter if it's a African or Caribbean immigrant who also says similar things and calls us lazy and tries to undermine all of our plights and tries to dump all of their garbage onto flat Blackness. It doesn't matter. As far as I'm concerned, you're all the same. So I don't give passes to anybody. Every single piece of disrespect needs to be addressed, and it will be.
But on the issue of race, on the treatment of African Americans specifically, even being terrible at what they're doing has still proven to be disastrous for our country. And it is, in part, the posturing and from the White House and the president. That is stuff that validates and excites the worst bigots in the country, and that is consequential. But it's more than that, too. We are now about 16 months into what has been from day one a concerted and intense targeting of Black Americans, specifically by this president and by this administration. On his first full day in office, he proclaims war on diversity efforts, not only in government, but in any institution in the country over which he can exert leverage, everything from schools and universities to law firms to private businesses of every stripe. He then immediately started firing some of the highest profile Black public officials in the whole U.S. government, seemingly regardless of any other thing about them. I mean, right away, we get the firing of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Charles C.Q. Brown. We get the firing of the Librarian of Congress, Carla Hayden. And then it's Gwynne Wilcox from the National Labor Relations Board. And then it's Robert Primus, the chair of the Surface Transportation Board. And then it's Alvin Brown from the NTSB. And then it's Peggy Carr, the head of the National Center for Education Statistics. And then it's Willie Phillips from FERC, from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. And then it's Lisa Cook from the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, and on and on and on. When Trump and his top political donor, Elon Musk, then started just lopping off huge swaths of the federal government to disastrous practical effect, the largest and most egregious cuts targeted federal agencies that employed a disproportionate number of Black employees. Reporter Erica Green wrote about this a few months ago for The Times, noting that nothing had moved backwards in the federal government for Black Americans this quickly or this far in over 100 years. Since Woodrow Wilson came in 1912 and resegregated the federal workforce. Quote, Black employees were fired or demoted to lower-level jobs, relegated to separate and inferior lunchrooms and other facilities, and accused of making white women feel unsafe. Those who remained were humiliated. A Black worker in the Postal Service was surrounded by screens, so white workers would not have to look at him. Another employee had a cage built around him to separate him from his white counterparts. A clerk in the Treasury Secretary's office was assigned to rewrite all correspondence to address Black employees by their first names. The way Trump addressed the Librarian of Congress, Carla Hayden, by her first name when he crowed publicly about firing her for no reason. In the year of our Lord, 2025, and now 2026, this president and this administration is not just inheriting that history from the Wilson administration, it's furthering it in its own ways. Since 1965, there has been an executive order in effect. It was signed by Lyndon Johnson, 1965. Since 1965, all federal contractors have been banned by executive order from discriminating on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or national origin. Donald Trump rescinded that 1965 rule on his first full day in office. Less than a month later, Trump announced another rule change. They rescinded Clause 52.222-21 of the Federal Acquisition Regulation, which doesn't sound like much, but I'll tell you what the title of that is. It's Prohibition of Segregated Facilities. That's what Trump rescinded less than 1 month into being back in the White House. That section reads, quote, the contractor agrees that it does not and will not maintain or provide for its employees any segregated facilities at any of its establishments, and that it does not and will not permit its employees to perform their services at any location under its control where segregated facilities are maintained. That anti-segregation clause has been in government contracts for decades. Donald Trump overtly reached out to rescind it, which means, bluntly, that the federal government no longer explicitly prohibits contractors from having segregated restaurants, waiting rooms, and drinking fountains. Make America great again, right? Recently fired and sidelined employees in the Department of Housing and Urban Development have started sounding the alarm that the Trump administration is no longer, just bluntly no longer enforcing a federal law known as the Fair Housing Act. Fair Housing Act, another pillar of the civil rights movement and its achievements. The Fair Housing Act dates to 1968. It says you can't refuse to rent to someone or refuse to sell a house to someone on account of their race or their color or religion or national origin or any other factor against which we're supposed to be protected from discrimination. According to current and former employees of the Department of Housing and Urban Development under Donald Trump, they have dropped enforcement of the Federal Housing Act. In Trump's first year back in office, black unemployment spiked in this country from 6.2% all the way up to 7.5%, making it the highest of all racial groups. Under Joe Biden, black unemployment had been at a record low of 4.8%, spiking now under Donald Trump. The Trump administration, generally speaking, is bad at its work. It is bad at what it sets its mind to in all sorts of ways. But black Americans, African Americans, have been targeted by this administration in a concerted way that has nevertheless been devastating, even though the Trump administration isn't good at anything they set their mind to. And that was all before the conservative majority on the U.S. Supreme Court, including all of Trump's appointees, voted to effectively end the Voting Rights Act a few days ago. As soon as the court said they would take up that case, people started mapping the worst-case scenario for what Trump and the Republicans would do, particularly in the South, if the court gutted the Voting Rights Act of 1965, the crowning achievement of the civil rights movement. And the before and after looks like the snapback after the end of Reconstruction, after the Civil War. I mean, look at the state of Louisiana there. A third of the population of Louisiana is black. Louisiana's Republican governor canceled congressional elections that are already underway in that state to rush through new maps that will presumably make sure that even though 1/3 of the population of that state is black, there will be no black representation in Congress for Louisiana at all. South Carolina, 1/4 of the population is black. They have one majority-minority district represented by an African-American Democrat, Jim Clyburn. They are going to try to get rid of that one black district so that South Carolina is all white, all Republican in representation, while 1/4 of the people who live in that state are black. In Tennessee, 1 in 6 residents is black. Republicans now want to make sure all 9 congressional seats in Tennessee are white. All 9 of them. They want it to be 9-0, white and Republican, when 1 in 6 people in that state is black. In her dissent from the majority ruling, Justice Elena Kagan said it will likely cause the largest reduction to minority representation since the end of Reconstruction. She probably didn't need to use the word likely there. The war on black Americans that is being waged by this president and this Republican Party is one of the only things they have put their mind to in this past year that they've actually done pretty well at. A comprehensive attack on black public officials and black public power. A comprehensive attack on black public officials in the federal government, black employees in the federal government, black representatives in Congress, and now all around the country, where everywhere Republicans are in charge, they are scrambling to make sure that black public officials can no longer hold office. We're going to talk tonight about the pushback against that and the strategies to make them pay for it, both in Louisiana, which is ground zero here, and around the country. We're going to talk tonight about some surprising pushback from churches and the clergy. We're going to talk tonight about a blistering takedown of Trump and the administration in federal court in Washington in a most unexpected case. But big picture here, we are in the middle of something really radical in this country. Not just to get rid of our constitutional republic, to replace our form of government with something else, but to get rid of the multiracial democracy that our Constitution is supposed to protect. It is a war on black America. The fight to save it is looking like it's going to be the fight of all of our lives. More ahead tonight. Stay with us.
racism, discrimination, and all forms of segregation affecting Black Americans today didn't just appear out of nowhere. They are rooted in long history process, and some of these structures and attitude will persist in different ways. First, history matters. Systems like slavery and the past post-Civil War era of Jim Crow legally enforced racial segregation and inequality for decades. Even after landmark changes like the Civil Rights Movement, which ended legal segregation, the effects didn't just disappear overnight. One, structural or systemic inequality. Policy from the past, like housing discrimination, often called redlining, unequal schooling, and employment barriers, creates gap in wealth, education, and opportunities. This gap can persist across generations and without explicitly racist law today. People still hold stereotypes or bias sometimes without realizing it. This can affect decision in hiring, policy, healthcare, and education. Because of historical exclusion from wealth building opportunities like home ownership or higher paying jobs, many Black communities still face higher rates of poverty, which can reinforce unequal outcome. While laws are formally equal, their enforcement isn't always experienced equal. Studies have shown disparities in areas like criminal justice, sentencing, and policy. Legal segregation ended, but many neighborhoods and schools remain divided along racial and economic lines due to housing pattern, income differences, and local policy. It's also important to say the situation today is not identical to the past. There have been major advances in civil rights, representation, and opportunities, but progress and persistent inequality can exist at the same time. And that is why I asked the first question: what has Black Americans really done? Because even after passing through all of this, they still have to deal with another demonic system. They still have to deal with one or two things coming into Black Americans' way. Just last week, we dealt with Ganzela's what was her name, where she can literally come on Black Americans' faces, spit on them, and call them any slur, any racial slur that she feel like. This week, we are already dealing with the voting rights that is being taken just like that. What has Black Americans really done? If you've been watching my videos or you're conversant to my videos, you will know that over and over I keep asking these questions. Like, is it a bad thing for you to build a country and people just came, take over that particular country from you? Is it a bad thing for you to choose peace over having to always protesting, always doing things that will destroy the country? It's a whole lot to deal with whenever it comes to Black Americans. What has Black Americans really done to deserve every single treatment they have been getting? Is it that this person is planning one evil plot or that person is planning one evil thing today or tomorrow? Is as bad as that. Because this man that I stitched his video said nothing but the truth. He said nothing but the truth. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Credits belong to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you, liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And guys, with that being said, with no further ado, I do like I always say in my videos, I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.